Well, last week, North Korea announced it had successfully tested a hydrogen bomb, thus completing its fourth nuclear test. This provocation sparked global condemnation with calls for tougher disciplinary measures on the communist state. Now, the question is, what kind of additional sanctions are needed, and will they even be effective? That's our news feature tonight with Oh Soo-young.
2016년 1월 6일 10시 주체조선의 첫 수소탄 시험이 성공적으로 진행되었다.
On Wednesday, January 6th, North Korea's alleged hydrogen bomb test sent shockwaves across the world. Countries including the US, Japan, Russia and China were quick to slam the provocation. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon also released a statement strongly condemning the nuclear test.
I condemn it unequivocally. I demand the DPRK cease any further nuclear activities and meets its obligations for verifiable denuclearization.
Within 12 hours of the announcement by the North, the United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting.
The UN Security Council gathering was triggered by a clause in Resolution 2094, which calls for an immediate meeting if the North conducts another nuclear test. Western societies, including the US, will not accept North Korea's actions like the nuclear test. They have called for strong sanctions to be placed.
So far, the UN has adopted 4 resolutions calling on North Korea to dismantle its nuclear program, and they include various sanctions on the communist state. In 2006, the Security Council first imposed sanctions on North Korea 5 days after the communist state conducted its first nuclear test. Subsequent provocations were also followed by fresh bouts of measures. The resolutions included sanctions ranging from inspections on North Korean cargo and embargo on movement of materials that could aid nuclear development, to restrictions on financial transactions, as well as sanctions against entities that violate these rules. Now, with the recent nuclear test, the UN may impose further financial restrictions in form of a secondary boycott. This would ban transactions between organizations around the world trading with North Korean companies, institutions or individuals.
If the secondary boycott's initiated, it could almost destroy the North's economy, especially its international trade. It'll definitely cause a shock.
Additional UN sanctions will target a business called Namcheongang Trading Corporation, which was involved in procuring nuclear centrifugal separators for uranium enrichment in the 1990s.
The scant amount of foreign currency they earn through that business will be cut off. If China cooperates on such sanctions, it could be a huge leverage in getting the North to give up its nuclear weapons.
But will these measures be effective or even possible? It all depends on whether North Korea's closest ally, China, will cooperate.
If China joins the international community in placing financial sanctions on North Korea, as well as reducing its energy support or trade, North Korea, especially the Kim Jong-un regime, will see fatal damages.
This time around, Beijing has taken a stronger stance against Pyongyang's actions, slamming the nuclear test and urging security on the Korean peninsula. Even so, with its strategic ties to Pyongyang that stretch politically and economically, Beijing still seems reluctant to take forceful measures.
North Korea has deep trade ties with China, from which the regime imports 80% of its light industrial goods. From this aspect, it'll be substantially difficult to get China to agree to place further sanctions.
Without China's vote at the Security Council or its active cooperation in pressuring Pyongyang, experts question whether a new set of sanctions will have the power to change the North for good. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.